Hi, today we have with us Mr. Arunabha Ghosh, CEO, Council on Energy, Environment and Water. Arunabha, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Arunabha, my first question to you is, there has been a perception in some quarters that environmental policies come in the way of development. So how do you think we can move forward together while ensuring that environment is conserved and protected?
You see, if you persist with business as usual, environment preservation, conservation, and sustainability for future generation is going to come in conflict with development. So let's not kid ourselves that there is no trade-off. But it's not just about a trade-off; there is an opportunity. So can we move from coal to cleaner coal? Can we move from energy consumption to energy efficiency? Can we move from water a competition to water efficiency and conservation and reuse and recycling and recharge? Can we move from poorer air quality to superior air quality, which improves human health, which improves human productivity, which improves incomes? Right. So unless we recognize that environmental conservation, sustainability has a business logic to it, has an economic logic to it, we will always find that environment and development are in conflict with each other. If we recognize the opportunity, we recognize new business opportunities to make money by conserving the environment.
Right. CEW recently published a report with WWF India, RE+, which is a compendium of innovative renewable energy applications that can be used to address diverse societal needs. Now, how do you think businesses can learn from these innovations and apply them across their value chain, and also to ensure that they do good to the communities around them?
You know, again, the reason we published that report RE+ is that we wanted to look beyond renewables, beyond electricity. So firstly, when we look at renewables, people say, oh, you know, it's not going to work, solar is intermittent, wind is intermittent, etc. We have already published several documents analyzing the National Solar Mission, looking at the wind energy sector in India, and we've shown that there is a business case. It needs to be supported, but if you have a level playing field, actually the prices will come down, you will get grid parity. So electricity coming from renewables is not a futuristic thing, it is a reality, and it will become a bigger and bigger share. But can we do more? Can we do more in a decentralized manner? So that's where we looked at applications that consider heating applications, cooling applications, cooking applications, mechanical power. And we showed that there are companies in India that are already working with 14 different technology options in each of these, across these different categories. So suppose you were a commercial establishment and you needed air conditioning. More than 60% of the energy that will be consumed in a commercial building will be for heating, ventilation and air conditioning. So can we have geothermal cooling systems? Now that saves you energy, saves you water, saves you on money, and it is environmentally sustainable, and you're supporting another business. So I was mentioning earlier this afternoon as well that CSR has to become corporate strategic responsibility. And when we think about natural resources as a strategic resource, just like we think about land, we go to war to protect our borders. We got to have a strategic approach to protect and conserve our natural resources. And as I was saying earlier, there are a range of technologies, business models that can be applied.
CEW has also spoken about the need for geoengineering governance, and that I believe is going to be very important going forward. So how do you see it in today's context? Why is it important?
I'm surprised that you're asking me this question, because we are the only institution in the country that works on the governance of climate geoengineering technologies. Now, I want to qualify that we are not promoters, we don't necessarily support climate geoengineering. But we recognize that around the world there are some scientists in Europe, in North America and elsewhere that are working on a so-called Plan B. If we don't reduce carbon dioxide emissions and other emissions of other greenhouse gases quickly enough and sufficiently enough, the latest report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change shows that temperature rise in the world over the course of the century could be well upwards of 3 degrees compared to pre-industrial levels. If we have to keep ourselves to a sustainable 2-degree target, and if we don't mitigate, what are there other ways? So climate geoengineering is that so-called set of technologies. So either you can moderate or manage the solar radiation reaching the Earth's surface, or you can remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. There are different technologies. The problem is that these are unproven. They could have severe adverse side effects. If you try and manipulate solar radiation reaching the Earth's surface, it could have an impact on India's monsoon patterns. So that is why we are trying to make sure that the governance mechanisms are in place before these technologies are even considered or deployed. Because unless we govern these potentially harmful, potentially beneficial technologies, we will be in an extremely difficult, strategically and from a national security perspective, in a very, very complex situation. And that's why we've been focusing on the governance of climate geoengineering.
Arunabha, there are many think tanks, organizations, governments which are working on tackling similar issues, and there really is a gap in terms of ensuring that there's proper knowledge exchange between all these bodies. So how do you see that issue of ensuring that there's proper knowledge exchange between bodies and all these organizations working synergistically? So how can that be achieved in your view?
Let me give you 3 examples. One, we last year found that there are 250 companies in India operating in decentralized energy. When companies look for CSR opportunities, they tend to look for the one solution, and they say, this person is setting up solar panels, then we give money to this. We said, if there are 250 companies, who are we to pick one? Can we do something collaboratively that can help all 250 and maybe 100 more scale up operations? So CEW has brought together 9 other institutions from within India and outside to grandfather a new organization called CLEAN, the Clean Energy Access Network. This way, we will provide operational services to entrepreneurs delivering clean energy services to the poor, lower their operational costs, improve their balance sheets, help them scale. So you can collaboratively help to grow a market for decentralized energy. Number 2, there are more than 50,000 water user associations in India. Some of them work well, some of them don't work well. But by definition, a water user association is a combination of different water users. So if you got to make them effective, you got to work with them to help them measure their water, manage their water, use their water, recycle their water, recharge their water, and then share it with others. So focus again on a strategic approach to bolster water users associations. Number 3, 2 years ago, CEW facilitated a $100 million initiative called the Joint Clean Energy R&D Center between India and the United States. And we said, let's not build one more building in which R&D will happen. Let's connect people by which R&D can happen. It was a government of US, government of India initiative, but we facilitated it. We brought 600 companies and research labs in both countries into contact with each other to help form research consortia. So whether it's decentralized energy, whether it's R&D, whether it is water conservation, CEW's approach has always been about partnerships and collaboration. We are ranked number 1 in India across many categories. One of those categories is the think tank that does the most for collaborative work. So the word collaboration comes from co-labor. If you can't work together, we can forget about solving these externality based problems.
Absolutely. Arunabha, on that note of working collaboratively, we come to an end of the interview. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.